What's going on, prospectors? Dig Daddy out here in the shed bringing you another episode of Backyard Prospecting. And today we got a gear review for you. Somebody was kind enough to send me one of these devices, a Kreeger Sluice, so that I could check it out. Now, I looked around and I found these on eBay, and they go for about $129 and about $14 shipping. And what that's going to get you is the sluice itself, and the little header piece so that you can feed it water. So, for 130 bucks, this is what you get. Now, the unit itself is about 3 feet long, along with the header. Now, but that's probably not as big as it's gonna need, because you're gonna need room for all your hosing and all that crap that you install back here, however you happen to set that up. But the sluice run itself is about 3 feet long. Now, what's different about the Kreeger sluice than your traditional sluice is it just has these little ramps, these reverse facing ramps, that give the gold a spot to kind of drop out into. And it pushes your material up over these ridges and out the end of the sluice. Now you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities for this sluice to catch the gold that you put through it and to clean it out of the material that runs through it. You get 5 drops, and hopefully by the time you get to here, all the gold that's in your material has fallen out. You really don't want to see gold this far down your sluice, in my opinion. So hopefully everything is going to be caught up here in the first few riffles, and we won't see anything down there. But we'll check it out. Now, $129 is not going to get this sluice running. So keep in mind there is some additional costs that you're going to have to throw on top of that to actually use this sluice. You could probably, just by itself, take the header box out, put it in the river. But being a plastic sluice, I don't know if it would take a lot of damage in the river. I wouldn't really use something like this out there. I'd like an aluminum body. But it's really considered a hyper concentrator. So I don't think the intention of this is to really run large material, but more to get your smaller material separated from the smaller gold. But in addition to that $129, you're going to need a pump and you're going to need some hose. There is an optional frame that you can get, and probably should get if you're going to use this at home, so that you can control the height of the sluice overall and have your tailings bucket at the end there. This will help out greatly. I didn't purchase this, so I'm not sure how much extra this costs. I imagine it's probably like an $80 upgrade for it. You'd probably have to look into it and find some more information. I couldn't really find a lot of info here at the drop of a hat when I started the video. Just the eBay posting for the sluice. But when I put the link down below, I'll try to find one that has the entire kit so you can see how much it goes for. But we're really just interested today in how well the sluice itself performs, because everything else is subjective anyways. Because if my pump sucks, that's not the fault of the sluice or whatnot. But you're going to need a tub. You'll probably want a bucket. You're going to need a pump. For the pump, I got a DC 1,000 gallon per hour bilge pump that I'm going to use. And we're going through some 3/4 inch PVC with a ball valve to control flow. into the sluice itself. So like I was saying earlier, you're going to need a little bit of extra space behind the sluice just for all the hose piping or whatever you wind up setting up for it. You might want to make a quick angle here so it doesn't have to go too far depending on your setup. But that being said, this is a very long setup. Overall, this is probably about 3 foot 8, maybe 4, definitely 3. We got 36 inches or so here with the sluice itself, and then easily another 8 or so with the pipes and everything. And then we just got some discharge hose that we're using to get water from A to B. A little tub down below that we're going to have all the water go into and back up through the sluice. So now to test everything out, we're going to run it through a big old pile of dirt, a couple pounds of some wet, kind of frozenish cons that I have. I'm going to try to warm this up as much as I can, try to get it to melt down. Maybe might have to put it in the oven. But we're going to throw some gold in there so we know what we're looking for. So we're going to bust the scale out. Zoom in. Oh. Wind blowing on it probably doesn't help. There we go. We're going to take a little bit of gold and get up close with that so you know that it is actually the shiny. Boom. I'm going to throw that in there. We have 2.249, so 2.5 grams. 2.251. That's how much gold we're going to be throwing in there. And let's see how much of it we recover back. So I'm going to go set everything up, dial it all in, and we'll be back to find us some gold. All right, we are all set up. I wound up setting up everything here in the shed because it's pretty cold outside still. And I didn't want the water to freeze before we got a chance to actually film. Now, I was mentioning earlier about some of the additional costs of running this sluice. One of them you got to consider is the pump and how you're going to power that pump wherever you may be. Because you're going to need some sort of power source, whether it be, in this case, I'm using a DC pump, so I need a DC source of power, so we're using a jumper box for that. Jumper box is another $60. So, just, additional fees and costs that add to the overall cost of this setup. Just something to keep in mind. But all in all, if you have a AC pump and you got AC power where you're at, that should work just fine as well. Like I say, I'm going to be pushing about 1,000 gallons per hour to this one. I already threw a little jet dry in the tub and get the tailings bucket where I need it, just in case we miss any gold on the way through. Otherwise, let's fire this baby up and see how well it catches that gold. Since it's so cold out here, I went ahead and threw some hot water in here for me to make it a little bit more comfortable. Getting a lot of splash over here, so I'm going to put a little foam pad up. Cut down a little bit of that splash. Otherwise, we got 2.5 grams of gold in this dirt, and we are ready to run it and recover it. Kind of mix it around so it finds its way throughout the entire bowl. All right. Now again, we got 5 opportunities to catch gold in this sluice. Hopefully we only need to use 1 or 2. Definitely clears out material pretty quickly. I'm going to tune it down just a little bit. Seems to be a weird pileup happening right here. Let's double check our angle. Sitting right there at 10 degrees. Alright, getting just about to the end of this pile of dirt. A little bit of water in here. All right. We've run our dirt. It was pretty quick. Camera's only been going for about 6 minutes now. Not too shabby. Let's power it down and see what we were looking at. All right. There's a little bit of this water. All right, now we definitely have a decent amount of our gold sitting right here in this first riffle. A lot of bigger chunks made it down here to the second riffle. Down here in the third, we definitely see some of that gold in there as well. It's a little bit down in the corners on this fourth riffle. And unfortunately down here on the fifth riffle, I definitely see some gold here, and there's probably some more underneath. Right there. So we'll get this all cleaned up, and then we'll check out what's in the tailings and what got missed. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We got the gold all cleaned up out of that sluice and out of those cons. And all right, let's weigh it out and see how much we recovered. Hopefully it's 100% because I don't feel like going back in there. Before we do anything else, there's a droplet of water on our weighing tray. Let's resolve that. No wetness, no condensation. tear it out. All right, now we're ready to play. And let's see how much we recovered. Oh, man. All right, so gold recovered was roughly 2.204. So we lost a little bit of gold in there. Now, a couple of these rocks are not gold, so they should get removed. There's a little bit of black sands in there. That's all right. There's probably a little bit when it went in. Final weigh-in, 2.196 grams of gold. So what that tells me is there was a little bit of gold that was lost. It was probably some of that floaty flour gold. It's not a huge amount, but knowing that we put 2.25 grams of gold into there and we lost 0.05 grams of gold. So about a half of a tenth of a gram. What is that? Like $1.50 worth of gold? Well, damn, that's $1.50 worth of gold that we lost out of those 2.25 grams. So it is probably worth it for me to go back through here, maybe classify it down to 100 and run that through the blue bowl. That may just be the really fine floury stuff that's too hard for this thing to catch. I'm not horribly surprised, but I'll get to my final words on ROI or whatever you want to call it here in just a second. But 2.2 grams of gold was what we recovered. And, all right. We'll be right back. All right. So, welcome back. So, what can I say? The Kreeger Sluice. $130 plus some shipping. Probably more around $250 by the time you're done getting everything you need to support the sluice. You know, once you've gotten the stand and the pumps and the power, or whatever your solution may be, tubs, piping, hose, probably more closer around 200, 220-ish. But at the end of the day, it does catch gold. If you're feeding it a teaspoon at a time, I think it'll do just fine. Now, all right, hold up. Now, at first, I was going to say this thing was okay. But man, I went back and I went through those tailings, and let me tell you, I have a little bit of a different feeling all of a sudden. And here's why. I'll show you a picture. What that tenth of a gram that was missed was all the flour gold. And a tenth of a gram of flour gold, it may not be a lot of weight, but that's a lot of flour gold. And so basically this sluice was missing all of that, every single bit of it, which is a problem for me because this is a super concentrator, and the kind of material, at least in my mind, that you use over a super concentrator is for fine material. And it should catch the flour. But unfortunately, a lot got by this. A lot got by it. And it was all the flour gold in that material, and it's a good thing that I went through those tailings, otherwise I would have lost a fair amount of that. I did recover it, but at the end of the day, my thoughts are, why am I buying a super concentrator if I have to pan all my tailings afterwards to make sure I get all the flour? That doesn't seem like a lot of logic there. I could just pan it and get all the flour and the gold that's in there all at the same time and save myself half the day of going through it through this system. So maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm running it wrong. I'm sure that Comments will probably somewhere pop up and say, well, he's just running it wrong. But I don't know. I didn't see any tutorials or anywhere where you can take classes on how to properly run this thing. I just use my own logic and what the videos that I see the creator of this and other people doing, and try to be as conservative as I can in the setup. In that, I think we did a pretty good job testing this thing out here today. I think it's pretty conclusive. It will catch gold. It just may not catch your flower gold, which for a super concentrator, that's kind of a problem. Maybe you're still wondering about how well it works, and maybe you see where I messed up. Please comment down below if you do think that I messed up somewhere, or maybe I tweaked something wrong. Either way, myself, I think I'm going to stick with what I have here and see where this thing can go, because there's not a lot of room here in the shed for it, so we'll see where its next home is going to be. Otherwise, this is Dig Daddy, and I want to thank you for stopping by here and hanging out with me in the shed. If you're a subscriber, thank you. Welcome back. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well. That way you get notified anytime I drop new content. Otherwise, join us here on Fridays now for BSing in the shed, and every weekend for our gold pay dirt stuff review. This is Dig Daddy signing out. If I don't see you out at the rivers, I'll catch you in the backyard. Peace.